Colossians tells Christians our lives should exemplify heartfelt compassion, kindness and humility, gentleness and patience. Above all else, our lives should demonstrate love, letting Christ's peace be our rule of life. This author is setting forth a pattern for a new way of life here, calling Christians to align themselves with the living Christ, with the way of Jesus, and making a clear distinction that existing societal structures and norms for living in the world are not the same as God's intentions for us. And telling those who follow Jesus, we just can't go along. But many times as Christians, we will find ourselves standing over against societal norms so that transforming love can spread out into all the world. Biblical scholar Lloyd A. Lewis writes this: "The demands of God's rule have the potential of infecting and reforming society as the qualities of God's ways are manifested in the lives of believers." Empowered by God's new rule, God's new way, social stratifications crumble, values and actions are transformed. We hold each one in our midst in equal esteem, neither undervaluing nor overvaluing the varied contributions members of the community can make. As Romans tells us, we are to have the same attitude toward everyone, rejecting conceit, refusing condescending attitudes toward those who seem to have less. Instead, we value all, holding each in the highest regard. Then there is this curious verse: "If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all." A verse perhaps raising the possibility that peace with another may not always be possible. A verse perhaps also raising the possibility that we could compromise too much, go too far, let too much go unchallenged in order to maintain a semblance of getting along, which we may fool ourselves into believing is peace and community. Jeremiah rails against the leaders, the prophets, and the priests, frauds proclaiming peace to the people, leading them on with promises that all is well when justice reigns in the land. They're casually applying band-aids to social ills without confronting the depth of the disease and preventing real healing from coming. They are crying, "Peace, peace," when there is no peace. Bringing a feel-better approach to people's pain, when genuine, real, deep healing of the pain is what is really called for. Desmond Tutu puts it this way: "Forgiving and being reconciled to our enemies or our loved ones are not about pretending that things are other than they are. It is not about patting one another on the back and turning a blind eye to the wrong. True reconciliation exposes the awfulness, the abuse, the hurt, the truth. It could even sometimes make things worse. It is a risky undertaking, but in the end it is worthwhile, because in the end only honest confrontation with reality can bring such healing. Superficial reconciliation, Desmond Tutu says, can bring only superficial healing. Living in beloved community, being genuine and real, is wonderfully transforming and empowering, building the foundation for real peace. But living in beloved community is definitely not for the faint of heart. Which brings me to my next question about beloved community. Do we really want to live in beloved community? I mean, really. Because you see, beloved community takes a lot of work. The ongoing work of living in deep and honest relationships, challenging us to the core of our beings. Beloved community is not about smiling and going along, sucking it up, in order to maintain some sort of false and fleeting thing we loosely and uncritically call peace. Living in beloved community requires being real and being honest and being lovingly confrontational. It's about creating genuine community based on truth and justice, which means there are going to be some changes, ongoing changes, as the community deepens and grows. And this is where it really starts to get risky. And not everyone will want to be part of beloved community. In beloved community, some people in the community will have to find the courage to call it like it really is, exposing the truth, going below the surface to point out problems no one else is seeing or at least talking about. Finding their voices, naming the truth, and ushering in the possibility of deep-level transformation. And some people in beloved community are going to be confronted by a new reality, discovering things aren't the way they thought they were. Learning community is more than a group of people being together, perhaps for a long time, getting along okay most of the time, joined in a rather loose commitment requiring little soul-searching and no real transformation of the self. In beloved community, everyone, at least everyone who stays, will be drawn into deeper levels of relationship, perhaps deeper than what they expected, maybe deeper than what they wanted, with people that may surprise them. Everyone will be working on things like equitable sharing of power, who is in positions of leadership, questioning, then questioning again, and questioning yet again and again our own attitudes and stereotypes, our limited individual narrow view of the world and its issues. Members of the beloved community will take responsibility for themselves while caring for one another, finding their voice and their role in the community, speaking out and stepping into their role in the larger society surrounding them, living in beloved community with its ongoing requirements and ever-present transformational experiences can seem rather daunting.